As night grew deeper and deeper, the cold wind slipped in, through the cracks of the window, bringing the chill of the night with it. Leon stood up and patted the dust off his clothes. Then started arranging the night watch order. He spoke softly to his master and Rebecca. "All right, get some sleep now. You fragile little girl. Master, I'll take first watch. You and Rebecca get some rest first." Tiger nodded, then moved over and sat down by the pile of hay in the corner of the wall. His hand was still wrapped around the sword hilt, as he agreed to the watch rotation. "All right, I'll switch with you for the second half of the night." Deep into the night, the broken shack fell silent. Only the dark red coals gave off the occasional crackle. Rebecca was curled up on the haystack, wrapped in a tattered blanket, sleeping deeply. Tiger was leaning against the wall, already asleep as well, his breathing steady and even. Keeping watch alone, Leon quietly got to his feet. From inside his clothes, he carefully pulled out a photo with slightly worn corners. His fingers repeatedly traced along the edge of the picture. It was the one he had just borrowed from his master. By the faint firelight, he looked at the figures in the photo and murmured softly, his voice overflowing with tender longing that wouldn't fade. "It's already been a few days since I left. I wonder how my daughters are doing. Have they been missing their dad?" Holding the photo he borrowed from his master, he slowly walked over to the window and lifted his head to look at the bright full moon in the sky. Its silver glow spilled across his face, cold yet gentle. Before he knew it, his thoughts drifted to Roswitha, far away in the Silver Dragon clan. His mind wandered far into the distance. The moon is so bright tonight. It should look the same over there, in the Silver Dragon territory, even from thousands of miles away, right? I wonder what that dragon lady is doing right now. He unconsciously raised a hand to the dragon mark on his chest, which was faintly warm. A gentle warmth spread beneath his fingertips as they touched its lines. Deep down he couldn't help but guess, and the corners of his mouth curved up on their own. The dragon mark suddenly lit up just now. Could I take that to mean she's thinking about me too? A moment later, Leon suddenly shook his head hard. He laughed at himself for visibly suppressing the jumble of thoughts filling his mind, and tightened his grip on the sword hilt at his waist again. As if that's possible. I'd better focus on keeping watch. The scene shifts to the heavily guarded palace walls. The wind atop the city ramparts was biting in the dead of night, making the banners snap loudly in the gale. Two black-robed envoys hid in the shadows beneath the battlements, almost blending into the night itself. One of them spoke in a hoarse, low voice, and quietly announced a shocking piece of news. Leon is still alive. The other man's whole body jolted. Beneath his hood, his face was filled with disbelief. His fist clenched so tightly that his knuckles turned white. He simply could not accept it. His voice trembled uncontrollably. "How is that possible? I pierced his heart with my own hands. There's no way he should have survived." The black-robed figure at the lead let out a cold snort. His voice was icy enough to cut to the bone, as he revealed Leon's current movements, his tone radiating undisguised pressure. Tonight, he joined forces with your former teammate, Rebecca, and took Tiger away from the church. I imagine he'll be coming for you soon as well. Failing to kill him back then was your mistake. This time, you will finish him for good." The man, buried in the shadows of his robe, bowed deeply as he accepted the order. His back was drawn tight, and his voice was pressed low, filled with vicious killing intent. "Understood, my lord." This time, I will not fail again. The higher-ranking figure in black gave a cold warning. There was not a trace of mercy in his tone. This was his final chance. Remember this. The only reason you've stayed alive until now is because those above chose to show you leniency. If you fail again this time, you won't be keeping your life either. Yes. As soon as the words fell, the figure vanished into the thick night, leaving no trace behind. The scene shifts again, this time into a noisy tavern. Warm yellow lights swayed overhead. The wooden bar counter had been polished to a shine. The bartender skillfully shook a cocktail shaker, its metal clinking sharply. The scent of alcohol mixed with riotous noise and filled the air. The resident singer Victor sat on a high stool on stage, with a guitar in his arms. The customers below cheered and whistled, pounding on the tables and calling his name nonstop. Victor, Victor. Ah, so handsome, one more song. Victor smiled and waved at the crowd. His fingers lightly brushed the strings, and he answered in a gentle voice, "Then let me sing one more for everyone." Over this mountain, a mellow song slowly spread through the tavern, gentle yet filled with strength. Over this mountain, I'll see the blue beyond. All my heartaches will turn into warmth. In a dark corner, Leon and Rebecca stayed, tucked in the shadow of a booth, watching Victor. Leon folded his arms and stared at the familiar yet strangely unfamiliar figure on stage. He spoke in a low voice, sounding a little emotional. How did he end up like this? Rebecca calmly held her cup of water and replied in an offhand tone, "That's what artists are like." A drunk at a nearby table caught sight of Rebecca in the corner. Mistaking her for an underage girl who had sneaked in, he walked over to strike up a conversation, still holding a drink in his hand. His tone carried a hint of frivolity. "Hey little girl, you're underage, aren't you? Did you sneak in behind your mom's back? How about your big brother buys you some juice?" Rebecca's eyes instantly turned cold. A chilling, killing intent suddenly burst from her entire body. She spat out a single word in an icy voice, completely devoid of emotion. Scram. The drunk was intimidated by her killing intent and sobered up on the spot. He stumbled backward in fright, almost tripping over the table and chairs behind him. Even his face went a few shades paler. Sorry. Sorry to bother you." The drunk hurriedly fled. Rebecca was still glaring at his back, cheeks puffed in annoyance, her face full of displeasure. The bartender carefully slid a cocktail over in front of Rebecca, not even daring to raise his head. His voice trembled slightly. "Why your Black Moon?" At that moment, Leon saw Victor leave the stage and head backstage. He immediately stood up ready to move. His tone was sharp and decisive. "Victor's off the stage. Let's go." Rebecca instantly put away her irritation, set down her cup and quickly followed him. Side story. Leon sat up with a yawn, his hair sticking up like a bird's nest. Rubbing his sleepy eyes, he took one look at the heavy dark circles under his master's eyes and Rebecca's, and instantly burst out laughing. Then he asked in confusion, Why do both of you have dark circles under your eyes?" Tiger, wearing two thick dark circles, looked utterly dead inside. He rubbed at his throbbing temples and helplessly complained about Leon's behavior all through the night. "And you're asking us? You spent the whole night talking in your sleep after you lay down. Aurora. 104 times Noah, 110 times Muan, 112 times. And Ross with a full 518 times. Rebecca couldn't help smacking her lips twice after hearing that. She laughed so hard she slapped her thigh, then teased him mischievously. TSK TSK TSK. So this is the power of true love. Leon's face turned red in an instant. He stiffened his neck and argued back stubbornly, awkwardly turning his face away. He refused to admit it no matter what, and even the tips of his ears were burning red. True love, my ass. Talking in your sleep doesn't prove anything.